All right. There we go. Let me make sure I'm live everywhere, as I'm a little bit late. Hello. Hello, guys. So I'm on Periscope, it seems. So that's good. So I'm live on Periscope. Yay. Hello. Hey, Andy. I didn't think I'd see you today. You're finally back. Yay, Bo. Yay, you can hear me now. Woohoo. I'm sorry, my voice is so freaking weird right now. Let me make certain I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty certain I'm on Twitch. Hello. So let's see. I should be on, yeah, I'm on Facebook. Woohoo. How are you guys doing? I don't. I've been getting over y'all, but check this out. Here's my Haunted Mansion mug just for today's live stream. I have very bad allergies. Hello everyone. Hello. I have very bad allergies when the weather changes and when the pollen shifts. I have a super hypersensitive immune system that thinks I'm under attack. So it's like, let's attack all the pollen. And my body's like, we got to get rid of these foreign invaders known as plant sperm. No, it's fine, body, but by all means overreact. So I have a pretty cool show for you guys today. Ghost Hunting 1. So I'm going to talk about everything to do with ghosts. What is it that ghost hunters try to detect? What kind of equipment do they use? What are they actually looking at? And do we have possibly a little bit of cognitive bias at play? So it's pretty cool that you guys chose that. It's not a temperature sensitive mug. I wish it was. It's quite all right. So let's go ahead and get started. Whee! Okie dokie. So that's my really awesome intro from Peter. Gonna go for it. So here's what we're going to look at today, science lovers. Today we're gonna look at what it is that ghost hunters detect. What are the symptoms associated with ghosts? What are the things that we feel and hear and see? Also, what's the tech that ghost hunters use? And what does science say about all of this? So this is kind of what we're looking at today. So, hey, we got our chat going on the side. I got some patrons hanging out here, Andy and Bo. What's going on? You love my intro. I'm so glad you do convert me. And it's really cool. Glad you got off work, sort of. So today we are talking about ghosts and ghost hunting just in time for Halloween. Ghosts have ever been a fascination to people throughout history. What do we see when we see ghosts? How do we explain what seems to be unexplainable? Many people grow up with ghost stories or know of a haunted house where seemingly unexplained things have occurred. I have my own personal stories of frightening ghosts, which I will share a little bit later. The media also contributes to the fun of ghosts. We have riveting television, primarily in the latest rendition of The Haunting of Hill House. because and it's currently on Netflix if you haven't checked it out, where we see family dynamics shaken, fueled by what would seem to be a house chock full of ghosts. But what is this? How do people detect ghosts, and what does science say? Not Ghostbusters, because they quit after the second movie. I don't want to hear it. Hello, everyone. So essentially, what are we looking at? There are all kinds of different types of ghosts. And so I took it upon myself to go and kind of investigate on my own some of the professional websites associated with ghosts. So here's what we got. And I'm covering up a little bit of my infographic here. So this is what we're looking at. I'm going to let you have a look at this. So essentially, we have various different types of hauntings. We have intelligent, elementals, demonic, shadow people, residual hauntings, and poltergeist hauntings. Told Mel about the show. So essentially, hey, Dragnot, also a patron, thank you. We have various different types of hauntings. So let's break down a few of these. All right, so we've got intelligent, demonic, elementals, residual, poltergeist, shadow people. So professional ghost hunters have broken down the different types of phenomena that individuals experience. You have intelligent hauntings where they're trying to communicate with you and they're trying to talk to you. They're trying to get a message out. You have demonic, where those are just mean old folks, like, you know, demons trying to hurt you and stuff, you know, scare you and be like, rah, you know, it's demons, you know, what can you do with that? Then you have residual. These are not what they call intelligent hauntings. They call these residuals are almost like on a loop, where they're telling a story over and over and over again. They're kind of caught in a frame where they're acting and behaving a certain way, redoing a certain thing, like a ghost that constantly makes tea. They're just making the tea forever and ever. That's all. You haven't heard about an elemental and intelligent before. All right. Well, I'll pop over and have the chat on the side in a second. Do demons eat chicken wings? Oh boy. You know what? They're from hell, so hot and spicy, right? So then you've got shadow people, which tends to be a little bit controversial amongst the ghost hunting professionals. They don't quite know what they are. They're just shadow people that show up here and there. And then you have your standard grade poltergeist that likes to bang around and make noise and is just an annoying type of haunting. So what exactly are these different things? So we got some questions here on the side. So elementals. But I was like, haven't heard elementals. Here's what's pretty funny thing about that. As I was combing through looking at these professional ghost hunter sites. On the type of ghosts, I looked at these few websites to gain some insight as to what the professionals say. One site feels that shadow people are not fully understood, and that seems to be the general consensus on the professionals. But on one site, I found this to be a bit humorous. They have no solid opinion on elementals. Elementals are like trolls and ghouls and fairies and I guess you would say leprechauns, things like that. And on this particular site, they had no solid opinion on elementals. So it was Paranormal MD. That's the site. They see them as a form of a cultural heritage. And so they kind of play it off as these fairies, trolls, and ghouls that they can't possibly be real. But they get a nod on their website because people have talked about them for a long time. And so they're just being nice. I found this to be a bit funny, given that I would think a more sentient being that could trick your mind makes more sense than the current tech ghost hunters use that only fuel our natural tendency to find patterns in things that are entirely random. Now, this is a well-established type of cognitive bias that many people often neglect and fail to understand that they even have it. So, yes, Bo, controversial amongst Ghost hunters. Yes, shadow people are multiverse Cybermen, according to Doctor Who. And I think I would accept that particular explanation in my personal opinion. Yes, elementals tend to be some kind of apparition attached to any type of local lore. But to me, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, they have no general consensus opinion on elementals, and they're kind of like, well, that's just stories they made up. And I kind of find it funny. So in Louisiana, we have the tale of the Rougarou. Huh, okay. But see, the thing is they say that those elementals can't, they kind of treat it like they can't possibly exist. But, how is it that they can't exist, but you can have intelligent hauntings? I don't know, I would think that would make a bit more sense. Because from what I'm seeing and what I've been digging through with this, it just seems like I have a whole show for you on this. So let me get to that so I can explain it a bit more. I organized my thoughts early this morning. Let's talk about the symptoms. What is it that people see? So some of the symptoms here, all right? You have a hitchhiking ghost. There's so many hitchhiking ghosts, Andy. They're just like, especially since the U.S. is so huge, there's so many different versions of seeing ghosts walking down the street. So, yeah. All right, so the different types of symptoms associated with a haunting. You have cold spots. You have EMFs. Those are electromagnetic fields. Yeah, and with that electromagnetic field, you tend to have a hint of anxiety. Doc Pearson seems like I could be considered an elemental. Oh, goodness. Black Shuck in Norfolk in South Suffolk. A large black dog apparition attacking churches. That's pretty cool. So the different symptoms. You have EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. You have heat. You have pictures that people took where they see some kind of thing, and you see that thing in the background kind of thing going on there. And then you got videos, and you got stuff like actual visions. You see a thing happen. And so all of these different things kind of manifest. But it's still kind of interesting nonetheless on what we have with that. So something to think about. Goodness. Ghost hunters. Okay, so we have all of these different things that happen. We see the things. You can even smell the things. Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Machine taught you all about ghosts, those pesky kids, radio static. Yes, that's the thing too. Ghost hunters essentially look to detect the things that people experience. People claim to be cold in certain spots. They have bouts of anxiety and fear coupled with hearing these voices. They see things in the mirror. They smell the perfume of their past loved ones. Ghost hunting requires the ability to detect these things. The equipment they use works to detect spectral images, voices, electromagnetic fields, temperature, as well as attempts to communicate through sounds and recording devices. So when they're going through and trying to detect these things, you also have to keep in mind that people are not infallible. We too can hear voices and see these sorts of things, especially if we have that impressed upon us. We already have this general idea that something, we're going in to detect a thing that we think is happening to these people. You already have done an interview and you've gotten an idea of what it is that you should expect. So you already have that impression already made upon you. I found a website that I too could buy a ghost hunting pack for about $600. For $600, You can buy an EMF detector. They also have a device to communicate with spirits. You could have a smartwatch even to record your sound for your EVPs. They have a GoPro camera that's fitted with infrared tech as well as night vision tech features. They have a cool looking silver case that looks terribly important, as well as a tripod and some gear that for stands for the camera. So, that was my leg, not a ghost. I kicked the table. Or was it a ghost? You couldn't see what's going on below the camera here. You know, I kicked the table. Or was it the ghosts that were angry? You decide. Or you could just believe me that I kicked the table. Either way, whatever you want. It's a spooky Science Saturday with the Science of and ScientistMel sitting here, drinking my coffee out of my spooky mug. But that's the thing. Ghost stop, EMF meters. Yes, ghost stop is where I went. That was the first thing I looked for. They actually, I'm too serious. I'm deadly seriousness all the time. There's no fun on my show ever. And I don't make dad jokes either. So it's funny. I was going through and putting all this together. Who am I supposed to blame my farts on if ghosts aren't real? I don't have a dog. Okay, godless recovery. I have a way that you can blame your farts. Olfactory hallucinations are a real thing. They're a real thing. So when you think you're smelling your grandmother's perfume who passed away a few weeks ago or a month ago or whatever, the olfactory portion of the olfactory portion of your brain is really close to your memories. So if somebody smells a fart or they're smelling something, you can be like, you're hallucinating. Olfactory hallucinations. So it's you can say, all right, you could be like entirely rude and saying, oh, you must be smelling something from a passed away loved one. Did you have a great uncle who farted a lot? Maybe you're remembering their smells. That's exactly that's exactly what you could say. But it would be entirely rude and possibly cause you to get into an argument that you may not want to get into with a person. Olfactory hallucinations are a thing that exist. They are a thing that's real. So, not only can we hallucinate in our ears and our eyes, but we can also smell things that don't exist. So, not in the current environment, but maybe a memory of a fart that you once had associated with something. So you could have a memory associated with a particular horrible smell, and that that could be a thing. That could be a thing. So that kind of brings me to this particular thing here. The evidence of all the farts I've smelt before. That's correct. What about the evidence, guys? There's so much evidence. There's EVPs. There's videos. You know, and people have these things where they are seeing stuff. And, you know, it's so freaking real. And they hear things. And all of this, you know. What about the evidence? So you got to kind of think about that. And so all of this evidence that they have, these EVPs, the things that you smell, the things that you see, like an old bag of pennies. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Old memories. So there's so many things that can that play upon with the evidence. All of the evidences is, you know. So you can't help but think, all right, they've got this evidence. What is that about, though? All right, so most evidence is easily explained through thorough examination. Our brains are just freaking fantastic at finding patterns in random noise. Apophenia happens all of the time, and this can manifest in pareidolia, which is where you're able to see faces in old mirrors, and you can also hear distinct patterns from noise, this apophenia version. This is why some people hear words on a recording from a random noise. Oh, yes, my voice. So this is why some people hear words on a recording from random noise. Even if it seems, when they go and they put it into their software and like, look, there's a surge. There's a surge. That means there's a voice there. Well, just to expect a voice when there's a person speaking those words, it's a bit far-fetched. Another common issue that we see is when recording devices pick up radio stations. You may actually be hearing people talk because they are. So in a radio station, electronics are not foolproof and are subjected to radio frequency or RF interference. So this is something that can actually happen. So electronic devices, when you're hearing EVPs, you cannot rule out the possibility that it's also picking up a radio frequency interference or picking up radio stations. This often happens. Cold spots, they're easily explained through cracks and holes in the duct systems. So you can have particular areas of a house that are colder than others just from leaks. You know, sunlight plays a big role on where the sun sets and stuff. You would be surprised. You can have warm spots in certain houses and cold spots in other portions. These are things that are very easily explained through cracks. These noises and stuff like that as well. House settling, these bumps. These are things, especially if you have organic materials that make up your house, you're going to have stretching. You're going to have these different things expanding and contracting to make those bumps in the night. RFI was much more common when most stations were AM. This is true. And so digital, even still digital detection, digital devices for recording can still pick this up as well. Old wooden houses creak. You can even have some different types of metals that you use if they're in coordination with other things. Well, yeah, more transmissions are digital. You're true about that. But even digital recording devices can still pick up RFI. So cold spots, bumps in the night, creaking, all of these things, they can still happen. The smells, we talked about the smells before, didn't we? Your memory center for your brain is right next to the center that processes smells. You can detect smells that are not there. It's olfactory hallucinations. And yes, this is a thing. Also, sometimes you can smell a particular smell and it can bring back profound memories. And these profound memories sometimes might even trigger visual hallucinations. That anxiety you feel, there's many reasons for that as well. So let's talk about these different things. What are the causes? What are the causes? I see stupid people. They don't know that they're stupid. I see ignorant people. They don't know that they're ignorant. I see dead people. They don't know that they're dead. You see where I was going with that? Yeah, you see, kind of like the Sixth Sense. You can confirm you have no visual capabilities mentally, but you can feel and taste and smell mentally. Here's something that's really crazy. In my dreams, I have lucid dreaming, but I also feel everything in my dreams. I can see, I can smell, I can taste, I can feel pain. All of these different things are pretty interesting about that. So what are the causes? Let's kind of hop through on what are the causes of these different things. Our brain is fantastic. So I don't know if you can see all of this. I'm going to pop over this. All of the different causes. We have cognitive bias. So what do we go through when we see ghosts? What are the different things that can cause us seeing ghosts, essentially? Cognitive bias, sleep deprivation, toxic mold and fungus, EMF sensitivity, sleep paralysis, mental illness, intoxication. All of these things, any of them coupled together, all kinds of different types of stuff can cause any type of what we see, hear, feel, smell, all of these different things. And we can have a combination of any of these. So it's entirely possible to have one of these things, several of these things, some of them overlap. You can have all kinds of different stuff. EM fields, electromagnetic field sensitivity. Some people are highly sensitive to that. I'm one of those people. If I'm around an area that has a lot of freaking, giving off radiation, even the World Health Organization has a page just on electromagnetic field sensitivity. It can cause hallucinations. It can cause anxiety. It can cause feelings of fear. Even some can cause like little bits of burns on your skin. So these people that look like they have like marks on their arm, that's from electromagnetic field sensitivity. So the higher the output, the more certain things of that. Oh, goodness. But you can't fake a video recording in an old prison. You see that orb? It's the ghost. Okay. So now we're reaching, let me talk a little bit about each of these different things that people go through. The orbs that you see, stuff like that. It's freaking thing. Oh, God. You have particles that you can pick up. Your camera can pick up different types of particles that look like orbs. And you also have the play on light. Light refraction also plays a thing on that as well. There was a guy that won an Academy Award for those little circles that come down on the sunlight. That they were trying to get rid of that because they thought it was messing up the shot. Now that's actively used in different forms of cinematography. They try to replicate that because a guy won an Academy Award for entire, because the light kept refracting and making those little circles that you see when you pull out, man. Golly, man. Gosh, so it's like you have different things that cameras can do. Can there be a disembodied consciousness? I don't think so. I think people, I just, sleep paralysis. Let's talk a little bit about these different things because I think that'll explain a lot. I have suffered sleep paralysis, and I'm going to show you a video here in a bit of a guy who's an artist. His name is Bruno, and he actually has he suffered sleep paralysis for 10 years, and he's taken his sleep paralysis and turned it into artwork, reenacted it through photography. Can information exist outside of a physical form? Well, we have a computer. So I would say yes, you can have information exist outside of that. So let me talk a little bit about these different types of things. All right, so I've mentioned cognitive bias. I'm going to show you a video here in a bit. Vice interviewed this particular artist who suffered sleep paralysis. I'm going to talk a little bit about my own crap that I've gone through. you have cognitive bias, your brain is going to find patterns in things that are entirely random and doesn't exist. This is a common form of cognitive bias because our brains are constantly trying to find order in chaos. This is what they do. Sleep deprivation can cause you to hallucinate. You can be like during the day or in the evening, you can have like micro dreams. Well, for 30 seconds, your eyes will be open but you're technically blind. You're asleep and it looks like you're seeing things, but you're not. You're dreaming. And sleep deprivation also increases anxiety as well as hallucinations. Toxic mold. Here's the thing, and I'm going to talk about a show, The Haunting of Hill House, and all of my thoughts associated with that. I will not give away spoilers. I won't do that to you. We're going to talk about that. Toxic mold coupled with sleep deprivation and mental illness and predispositions for mental illness. If you have that and you have other environmental factors, bing, that can turn on any particular genes you might have where you might be predisposed to particular types of mental illness. So, oh God, though, sleep paralysis is horrible. EMF sensitivity, we've talked a bit about that already. Intoxication, if you are drinking or taking any kind of types of medications that induce hallucinations, that coupled with any of the other things can make you feel like you are in a haunted type of situation. Now, sleep paralysis. Oh my God, it is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. I have suffered sleep paralysis my entire life. Less so now that I understand it a bit better. But when I was little, I was absolutely convinced my house was haunted. My sister suffers sleep paralysis. My mother suffers sleep paralysis. So to like an 8 or 9-year-old child who's laying in the bed, can't move, thinks that there's a demon in her room holding her down while monks are standing around her bed and chanting, seems entirely real. Then you have this conversation with your little sister who seems to have the same type of problem. And you have this problem throughout your life. You talk to your mom. Your mom has the same issue. Oh my gosh, we are in a haunted house. Ha! We have absolutely in a haunted house. That coupled with a father who believes in the paranormal, telling you all the stuff that happened to him when he's a kid. You're like, our family is haunted. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then you talk to your local church and your pastor's like, you should pray more and sleep with a Bible under your pillow because your house is haunted. All of this in an area that kind of is rooted in the folklore. I grew up down the street from a cemetery. And across the street from my house was an Indian burial ground that actually was overtaken by some farmers who end up just like, it's a huge burial ground, like right in the middle of the thing. I don't know how they managed to get this land, but they did. And it's a cotton field. So you have the perfect setup for this lore. Being primed, having expectations, down the street from a frickin' cemetery, old cemetery, like late 1800s type of cemetery that still is being used. There's a church there, old creepy church, and then Indian burial ground. Dad, who grew up with sleep paralysis, apparently he had that as well. We all have it in my family. So we're sitting there like, our house is haunted. We're absolutely haunted. I didn't even know sleep paralysis was a thing till about 10 years ago. Maybe about 10 years ago. Maybe a little less than that. A little less than that maybe. So, and then I explained it to my mother and my sister. And they're like, so that's what that is. And there are evolutionary advantages to being frozen while you're sleeping. So you don't go off and start flailing around if you have a nightmare hurting people around you. So this is a legitimate thing that's actually pretty freaking horrifying. I've seen demons. I've seen elementals. I've had monks standing around my bed chanting. I've had demons holding me down doing horrible things. I've had demons standing at the end of my bedroom. I have felt like I was drowning. I have felt myself move out of my body. It's all kinds of weird stuff. So it's like when you set it up with our culture of having these ghost things coupled with sleep paralysis and stuff like that, it feels 100% real. And knowing that I feel pain, I can hear, smell, all of these different things, all of my senses are on fire. You know, I have the ability to hear, see, feel pain, all of these different things while I'm sleeping. Having that going on while hallucinating, living this dream while you're frozen in your bed, it feels 100% real. So it's, you know, it's absolutely, it's horrifying. So I'm going to show you guys this video now. You guys ready? It's video time. This comes to us from Vice, where they are interviewing this particular person and their different sleep paralysis they go through. So check this out.
I wake up and my body's paralyzed and I start to go into like a paralytic shock. There's these silhouetted figures and different types of beings that are floating through my room and tormenting me, screaming in my ear. I hear crazy static and things start to fly off the shelves or the door will swing open. The dream has the complete control of what's going on and I can't do anything about it.
Meeting with Nicholas Bruno. He's a visual artist photographer. He suffers from sleep paralysis, so I'm meeting with him to find out more about the condition and see how it intertwines with his art.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Nick, nice
Honor.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Imagine a terrifying dream you can't wake up from. Only it doesn't feel like a dream. It feels real. Your physical being is inactive, paralyzed. That is sleep paralysis, and that's what's been haunting Nick every night for the last 10 years.
So these are some photos from high school?
Yeah.
We're about to go back in time.
I don't know what's in here, but we're gonna look.
This was in the middle of the summer, I think. Wasn't it raining
I think so.
this day? When they came inside and just took a picture of the Polaroid. That was fun.
Episodes started when you were 8 or 9 and got to their most extreme about the time you guys started dating.
Right, we started dating summer of 9th grade.
So
Yeah.
We were
pretty
about
interesting.
14 or 15.
Did that affect you in any way?
As soon as he would wake up, he would jolt out of bed, and of course, that would wake me up too, but not really affected me personally, but I felt like it was torturing him so much in his sleep that it was affecting how he would act during the day. He was definitely just someone who would drag his feet. You could just see in this poor kid's face that he was tired.
So this is my room.
Cool, man.
Got some weird stuff going on, I guess.
How often do these episodes happen here?
It used to be almost every day.
Yeah.
And I would, like, because I was terrified of it, I would not sleep.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
So I'd be up for like 2 or 3 days at a time. And that would actually kind of escalate the
Yeah.
dreams themselves.
Yeah.
Because like depriving yourself of sleep, you're gonna have some crazy dreams. Once I started searching online, trying to figure out what's going on here, like I would type in like silhouetted figures or like woman in a black dress or like pressure on your chest when when you wake up and you can't move. And the painting, The Nightmare, that kind of stood out to me. And once I linked that image, that took me to the Wikipedia article of sleep paralysis. I'm like, I found it. This is it. It was kind of like embarrassing. I was afraid to like tell anybody about it. But around age 14, 15, when it started happening a lot,
Yeah.
I started telling my parents, and I told one of my teachers at school I was very close with, and he told me to start sketching and like kind of figure out and like take the situation and just go with it and see what happens. And
Yeah.
since all these crazy visuals were happening, he was like, this could be a really good supplement for your work. Okay, I'm trying to think of like one that I could actually explain without sounding like a freak. I felt like my bed was actually getting sucked downward through
His
the
work
floor.
is amazing.
And there were a
So
bunch of
it's
figures around my
pictures
bed,
he
so I
shows.
kind of went through a representation of like having a ditch under my bed and having the figures lowering my bed down with a bunch of ropes. I definitely know when I'm in one or the other world.
Totally.
I try to create that sort of purgatory within the images that I create.
Making the intangible tangible.
Right.
Yeah. So here we have some of your work, which is amazing.
So basically in my process for this image, I'm all three of these characters, and I'm able to achieve that by putting my camera on my tripod and having a continuous shutter release. So while the camera actually continuously shoots, I'm able to become these different characters, either by changing my costume or like moving into the background or into the foreground. By becoming all these different characters, I'm able to have my hand in every part of the image. The kind of trademark of my work is the hooded figures that I put into there.
So this is what he sees.
I'm trying to figure out which one I want to use
frozen in his bed.
for the hood.
He sees stuff like this.
But this is also more
With his eyes
see-through.
open.
I don't know. Like, that looks really cool. I'm just trying to figure it out. After I kind of conceptualize in my room and like have my dreams and figure out what I'm gonna actually be shooting, I'll come here and I'll start working on stuff.
Do you oftentimes work at night?
When I had my insomnia, it really just kind of made me think about how the day is not and the night are not really like a thing. It's kind of just like one cohesive thing that goes on and on and on. There's no like actual break. I found that boundary was broken once I started staying up for like 2 or 3 days at a
amazing
time.
he takes what he suffers from and, kind of makes this gorgeous.
With these figures and the main character, they're all going to be in the water, like with I found this bed, and it's like an antique looking bed, and I weathered it a little bit, and we're going to bring it to either a pond or the marsh, halfway submerge it, and have the figures pulling the bed into the water. So that's basically the idea that I'm going to try to do for my next project.
He's absolutely amazing.
By creating these photos, it gives me a sense of control where I don't have any control in my dreams. I'm able to take what I experience and totally put them into a tangible form and recreate what goes on, but have curation of what actually goes into the pieces themselves. Oh, the lighting looks really cool right now. Because what's happening is these ripples are going. It's catching the white, so it's kind of like the stark contrast between the white and the really dark brown. It looks pretty cool. The figures that I use within the photograph are reoccurring throughout my work, and they're also reoccurring throughout my dreams. When I started having sleep paralysis almost every night, I thought I was either possessed or I did something wrong in like a past life or something, and they're back to haunt me. Now that I've created my own therapy by creating photographs inspired by my dreams, I feel better as a person. The world of art allows you to express your ideas so fluidly that art became my go-to for dealing with this condition.
Oh my goodness. It says that it's has my stream interrupted. Okay. Alright. Alright. Hopefully it's back. Oh my goodness. I got a copyright infringement. I guess. I don't know. Is it back? I don't know if it's back or not. Let me see if it's back. Alright. I think it's back. Let me see if it's back. It's still live on Periscope. Still live on Periscope. Yep. So I'm going to continue on with Periscope and see if we can go there. I've cut off the video. Yeah. It did because there was copyright algorithm on YouTube. So I had to stop it and switch over before YouTube lost their mind. So yes. YouTube apparently is a bit of a jerk sometimes. Now we're back. So yes, YouTube apparently is a bit of a jerk sometimes. All right. Gosh, so whatever. It's fine. I will just go through and fill out the copyright. I'm using it for educational purposes type of thing, blah, and then they'll lift it and it'll be fine. They did this with a Penn and Teller thing that I did once, so whatever. But it's all right. It's fine. So, yay, we're back. But we saw the gist of it and all the important things associated with that. If you're watching on Facebook or Periscope, you saw the whole thing. So you can always... No, it's not a strike. I never get a strike, so it's not a big deal. Because I'm an educational channel, you know. I'm not actually a pirating channel. I actually do things education-wise. And so I always appeal it and say, it's for educational purposes. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we're doing, and this is why. So whatever. And they can just deal with it how they want. So anyway, sleep paralysis. That is a thing that exists, and I didn't even know it was a thing for a long time. I honestly thought I was haunted and there were ghosts and stuff like that. So, okay, so yes, my Periscope link. I don't have it available right now, but I'm ScientistMel on Periscope, and this will be the latest stream listed on that. So if you want to check out the whole thing, you can go there. It's also on Twitch, and it's on Facebook. So if there's portions of it you didn't get to see on YouTube, this is why I streamed on multiple platforms, so people can access it in multiple places. So, yes. So sleep paralysis, I wanted to talk a bit about that. And so I wanted to show you that it's a thing, and people absolutely go through awfulness that happens all the time with that sort of thing. So also, Haunting of Hill House. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Gosh. I sat through the whole series. And this is a perfect example of what I want to bring up in regard to the ghosts and the things that they do. What is it exactly? What happens with it? Haunting of Hill House. So I watched the entire series. It's currently on Netflix. It is in my mind that this is a perfect example of mental illness being exacerbated by family dynamics, gender roles, sleep paralysis, as well as the stresses of a failing financial investment, coupled with copious amounts of toxic mold. If you have not checked out that series, watch it with a skeptical eye and you will still enjoy the heck out of that show. Unlike other ghost films and TV shows where cartoony ghosts and laughable behavior fuels the plot, this show charges you to think, are the ghosts real? Can it be explained? I charge you to watch that show and see if you can explain the phenomena there and walk away still feeling enthralled and entertained, because you will. It is a good thinker and a great return to supernatural horror with without the spooky-doo feel of ghosts. So the thing that I really like about that show is I was sitting there watching it. I was like, wow, this is so neat. I was going through all of it, and I'm like, I was looking at this. I'm like, it's freaking sleep paralysis. This is sleep paralysis. And I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God, okay, that's great. And then you look at it, and then you're like, okay. And then they've got all these stresses associated with trying to flip this house. And then they find out there's like toxic mold everywhere. And you're sitting there like, oh my gosh. And then mental illness runs in the family. So you can have environmental triggers that turn those genes on, and those start working, and then it can manifest in that way. And so toxic mold is a huge factor, and can, as well as air quality. You mix that with poor air quality, then you can end up having all of these psychiatric types of effects, anxiety, depression, and also hallucinations. So It's like just a smidgen of fun. Yes. Yes. Just a smidgen of fun. You know, it's a thing that should be watched with others. Stop it. Stop making sense, Scientist Mel. How dare you? How dare you take the joy? But honestly, you know, it's like I watch shows like Paranormal Activity, and I just want to call that the worst boyfriend ever. I just sit there. I just hated the boyfriend so much. She's just like, this is tormenting me. I need some help. I need some help. And he doesn't get her help. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God. What is wrong with you? And it's just, you know, it's just terrible. I laugh at ghost films. I'm like, it's terrible. But movies like Ju-on, like the original The Grudge, you know, not the Americanized version, which is Scooby-Doo terrible, but like the Ju-on, it's just, gosh, it's enthralling because you don't know. I mean, they use like real actors to play the ghosts. The fact they use real actors and stuff like that, you know, that kind of ups it a bit. So you can't help but think, is it like mental illness that's driving them to this, or is it ghosts? You know, you're like, you know, but it's enough to get you thinking, to want to figure out what is happening to this family. That's why I like The Haunting of Hill House. You can sit there and explain it with so much science, and you just feel like, wow, this is just like a whole bunch of things all culminating together, and it's very enthralling. And it's still wildly entertaining. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, being a scientist and explaining a lot of this stuff away. Ju-on is just, I have to watch cartoons. First time I watched that, I had to watch cartoons for hours in order to get in a better mood. Because it just, oh God. The films that scare me the most are the ones like Psycho. Those kinds of movies where there are people doing horrible things. I did start by naming this the science of ghost hunting, because it kind of is. So when you're sitting there and you're looking at all these things about ghosts, what are they detecting? That's what we're talking about. What is it that they're detecting? And they're not really detecting anything. They're just detecting things, and their brains are putting patterns together where there isn't any. That's essentially what we're saying here. That's what we're saying here. It's just all, and I've had my paranormal experiences, and I thought they were real, 100% absolutely real. Come to find out, my brain is just super imaginative and fantastic on my horrible sleep paralysis dreams. Hey, isn't this lovely? Oh, Human Centipede is terrible. I laughed at that film. The villain was just awful. Absolutely awful. Awful villain. He was just like, mwahahaha. He was just Senti. Oh my goodness. Yes, Andy. Senti. Human Centipede is just yucky. But absolutely check out The Haunting of Hill House and see if you agree with me. Is it the toxic black mold with the poor air quality coupled with the history of mental illness, along with the stresses of a failing financial investment, coupled with the dynamics between the family? You know, parental involvement has a big play in this. So it's something to consider, you know. Think about these things. Educate yourself and watch that show, and you'll be like, is it this or is it ghosts? Is it this or is it ghosts? It's a wonderful play that walks that line, that introduces that this might have scientific basis here. So it's really great. Create a mood that makes mundane things seem scary. Oh my goodness. You guys are so funny. Ghost Hunters. I used to watch that show. I'm like, ooh, they're out there. Look at this. This is so cool. They're doing stuff. And you're like, ooh, did you hear somebody say things? Hello. Did you hear somebody say stuff? Is that like really a ghost talking on their EVP, you know? It's all so interesting. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to show you like all my sources. I spent some time putting this together. You know, so I'll pop it over the big monitor. I have lots of sources here. Live Science has some stuff. There's the Paranormal MD who talks about the types of hauntings. Paranormal MD. Mayo Clinic, Phantasmia. You know, that's where you actually can smell things that don't exist. And then an interesting forum on how to deal with RF interference. Science Daily. I'll post these on my website. Scientific American has a great article on patternicity, finding meaningful patterns in things that are entirely random. And then the World Health Organization, what is EMF? You can check that out. And pareidolia, that's where you see things that in faces and things that are not, you know, there. And then sleep paralysis. The NHS has a really good thing on sleep paralysis for that. It's the old hag that people see during sleep paralysis. I'm not certain. That's just the thing. That other dude that we showed on the video was talking about the hooded figures and stuff, you know, and so I see hooded figures too. I don't know if that's something that's just kind of planted in our subconscious. You know, did you hear that? What was that? You know, that sort of thing. So those are all different things that are kind of associated with that. So I'm going to take a moment to thank my patrons. Thank you, patrons. You guys are awesome. So Tony, James, Lauren, Jen, Carl, Melanie, Patrick, Daniel, Stephen, Paula, Tim, Carrie, Cersei, Keith, Duke, Andy, Zachary, Tony, Bo, Stephen, Sarah, Chris, Graham, Dragnaut, Godless Island, Jennifer, Corey, and Richard. Thank you. Because of the stuff that you've done, I've been able to afford a new microphone. I have a new mic, guys. Thank you for that. And it's got like the thing that stops the spit from hitting the mic. So it's like a nice little filter thing. So it's really nice. So thank you for that. Your stuff, I'm in the hole almost every month. And so the contributions that my patrons give to me help me out tremendously. And so, and with my new job, I'm hoping over the summer to be able to travel and come to your cities. Maybe a road trip over the summer, the Science of Road Trip this summer. I'm hoping to make that possible to where I can go and travel around and do talks live in your town. Wouldn't that be so cool? Doesn't have to be a huge venue, but I want to go out and meet my viewers and meet the people watching the show. So that will be pretty freaking awesome. And I want to make that happen. And I can do that because of my patrons and the super awesomeness that they help me with all of that. So where can you find me? Everywhere. I'm everywhere on the internet. ScientistMel.com, Patreon.com/ScientistMel, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. I'm all across there. Denmark, cool. Win. You know, maybe a European trip. Maybe I could do a European trip. Wouldn't that be neat? Have the Science of Train edition and just sit on a train. Like hop out. Go to a city. Talk. Get back on the train. Keep going. Wouldn't that be an awesome trip? Oh my goodness. That would be so cool. I would love to do that with you guys. So that's like the big goal, to be able to do that and also have a science convention, a science communication type of convention, kind of like Comic-Con, except for science. I think that would be amazing. People could dress as their favorite scientists or science concept. That would be awesome. So these are all the goals that I have, and it's just me right now. So hopefully the more people I get involved, and I do rely heavily on the kindness of others. Look a Pig does a lot of stuff for me. Peter, Gonna Go For It, makes all my intros. Organized Chaos works a lot on artwork. Livid Unum does artwork as well. So I rely heavily on the kindness of others. So if you can't contribute financially, like, share my work, subscribe, get it out there. I actually pay for ads to boost science literacy out of my own pocket on Twitter and sometimes on Facebook. So a positive science tweet pops up in people's timelines that I pay for. I do that because, you know, the news is horrible right now. Do some science demos. I can do some science demos. I'm always welcome in Denver. Yay! I'll come out to Denver soon, and that'll be awesome. So I do all of these different things to try to boost science literacy. South Park, yay! So any kind of help, if you can't contribute financially, it would be awesome to if there's something you can do to help volunteer to help me get my work out. That's also appreciated. Wonder Lady has done things as well, so I want to thank her for some of her artwork that I use in a lot of my trailers at the end. It's all about the science. That's from Wonder Lady. She made that image for me from one of my pictures. So yeah, you guys rock. And I have, yeah. So. Oh my goodness. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. It's been absolutely fantastic sitting here with you guys, doing our thing every Saturday morning. This has been ghost hunting. The science of ghost hunting. You're in Lakewood. Oh my goodness. So maybe I need to do a Denver trip and have a science of in Denver. I might like flying into Denver as much as climbing around in the mountains. No, you're too late. That's all right. That's been the science of ghost hunting. Going down to South Park. So do you guys have any questions before I sign off? Awesome when I'm awake for it. I'm glad you're here. And if you missed the show, fear not. You can watch it anytime. My streams stay up forever. My stream was interrupted at one point on YouTube, but you can watch the whole thing on Facebook.com/ScientistMel, Twitch.com/ScientistMel, Periscope.com/ScientistMel. It just works out, doesn't it? So you can check it out around there as well. I'm so glad you guys are here and share this with me. I appear on Talking Shit, the Monty Shit Show, Monty and Hannibal Shit Show. So you can check that out. I'm on there usually every week. I've missed the last 2 weeks because my throat's been weird. I've recently shown up on the Godless Iowan, one of his videos. I was on Mr. Atheist last week, and I was on Godless Cranium Show last week as well. So do check out all the other places that I'm at. I've been on Non Sequitur a few times. You can all over there check out the stuff too. And I've been on Sunday Science with Andy, who's in the chat right now, and also on Sci-Strike's channel for movie night. Every time you catch a Mel video, it's because you are on. So do check out the other awesome peeps that hop on. And also Dragnot. He was on my show along with Monty a few weeks ago talking about the science of venom. So go check out his channel as well. And always, thank you for being here. Yes, Sci-Strike. I mentioned Sci-Strike. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go and probably make me some tea. I was on movie night last night. I can't hang with you guys on movie night. You guys just start so late. And I've been like up since like 5 in the morning that day. And then I show up and then my throat's all crazy. So there you go. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next Saturday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll post a poll for the next show and we'll see who wins. I'm sending squishy science hugs to you guys. Bye. Have a great Saturday. Oh.